Turn up the flavor of your vegetable dishes with these tips. Cooking is never an easy task. What's more, trying to turn up the flavor of a dish to make it enjoyable for each family member is a challenge in itself, let alone adding vegetables into the equation. Let's not forget that the way the human body recognizes flavor is connected to the taste that foods have. That's why the taste of food is what gives us the sensation of pleasure when we eat it. With vegetables, it's a different story. Maybe the dislike for this food group grew from associating it with what mom gave us to eat and with what our mouth had to say about it. No matter what the cause, many people aren't fans of vegetables. However, how you cook them can make a big difference. Here is a list of some great tips to try out when you're in the kitchen. Turn up the flavor of your vegetable dishes with these tips. Salty, sweet, bitter, spicy, everything is possible. Anybody can tell you that vegetables are wonderful for your health. However, it brings up another question: why is it so hard to eat them if they're that wonderful? It probably has something to do with the negative memories that the flavors produce in our mouth. This set of small tips can help you to enjoy the exquisite flavors of vegetables. Sweet. Although you might not believe it, the majority of vegetables have quite a high sugar content. It varies depending on the vegetable. In other words, radishes and cabbages are both vegetables, but they don't have the same sugar content. Furthermore, the sugar content varies according to how you prepare the vegetables. Therefore, dry cooking methods, like roasting or pan-frying, can counter-react any bitter flavor that vegetables may have because caramelizing their sugars intensifies their flavor. If the vegetables are coated with oil, something that's known as the Maillard effect occurs. The hot oil quickly evaporates the surface's moisture. As a result, we end up with softer vegetables with a great exterior. At the same time, their flavor is delectable and sweet, and they become great accompaniments for other ingredients. Salty. Now, we're about to enter very subjective grounds. How people season their food tends to depend on their culture. For example, in India, it's common to use condiments that pack quite the punch: curry, garlic, chives, soy sauce, hot peppers, to give foods a characteristic flavor. However, if you're the type of person that loves to use salt when you're seasoning vegetables, you have to know how to use it. With mushrooms, cilantro, garlic or onions, you have to measure how much salt you use. These ingredients can lose their flavor, and using too much salt would be counterproductive. On the other hand, for side dishes and sweeter ingredients like zucchini or yucca, using salt is 100% recommended. It's a matter of testing if the flavors are just right or not. Bitter. Although it might come as a surprise to you, bitter flavors are more helpful for your dishes than you could ever imagine. Thanks to the unique elements of their bitter character, they contrast with sweet flavors. Peppermint paired with peas and potatoes, or parsley in salad dishes with a sweet dressing are some obvious examples. In addition, cumin is a perfect match for roasted carrots. Spicy. Before using this tip, you have to always remember that a disproportionate spiciness in dishes tends to be counterproductive for your health. However, it's only fair to re-emphasize that if you can control how often you use it, a little spice can showcase foods through their strong and exotic flavors. The best-known spicy vegetable is the chili pepper. This small ingredient produces a distinct feeling and reaction in the taste buds. Paired with other vegetables, they'll give your dishes a fabulous mix of sensations. Acid. Vegetables rarely contain the acidity that our palates enjoy. However, we know that anything is possible in the kitchen. If you want to add an acidic touch to your vegetable dishes, lemon, which is a fruit, is your best ally. Even if it's a spritz of juice to give your dish a little moisture, the result will always be rewarding. It's common to find this acidic trick in salads, and it's almost always pleasing to all palates. Just as is the case with olive oil, vinegar or mustard, it's a matter of taste. Don't forget that cooking is an art that involves freedom, creativity, love and dedication. If you decide to try out more daring combinations for vegetables and other types of foods, you can do it.